doing this. I've been watching you on the internet. I've never met you, but I'm grateful for your honesty and your bravery and the precision of what you say. You never, in the face of all this criticism, never got so mad that you revealed ugly sentiments, which I don't think you have. You just stuck right to the Christian case. So bless you for that.
Thank you.
How did you get involved in the President's Religious Liberty Commission? What is it, and how did you become a member of it?
Very good question. So I was Miss California in 2009. Donald Trump owned the Miss Universe, Miss USA organization. It was very controversial, but I dared to say on stage that I believe marriage is between one man and one woman.
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember it, and they punished you for it.
Huge controversy.
Carrie Prejean is no stranger to being the first person in the room to say the unspoken truth. In 2009, she was canceled for her views on marriage. Now, in March of 2026, she's back. The battleground has changed. She was appointed by Donald Trump to the Religious Liberty Commission, but according to her new interview with Tucker Carlson, she's being purged. Why? Because she dared to apply her pro-life values to the crisis in Gaza. Today, we're breaking down the explosive civil war inside the White House Faith Office.
That was really before anybody was canceled. So I always tell people I was one of the first to be canceled.
The crazy thing is the majority of Californians agreed with you because they voted.
100%.
They voted in a referendum, pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
Prop 8, which was then invalidated by a judge because democracy's fake. But
Exactly.
you were saying what most of your fellow Californians believed.
100%. Yeah. And I was just standing on my principles, which is what I'm doing now. So Donald Trump loved me. He said, Carrie, this is going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. I remember one day I was in his office and he's like, Carrie, you have the it factor. And I'm like, what is that? I was 21 years old. I'm like, what does that mean? And he's like, you just have it. He's like, you dared to speak the truth knowing what it would cost you. And I think he really respected me for that. And so at 21, I became this, conservative darling, I guess you could say, and dared to stand up for my faith. And I doubled down. They told me, go on Matt Lauer and apologize for what you said. You must apologize.
Did they really tell you that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the pageant people said, go on and apologize. And I turned my phone off. I went on Matt Lauer and he's like, all right, Carrie, let's do a redo. How would you answer the question? I said, I have no regrets. I would literally—
You're getting a lecture on sexual ethics from Matt Lauer?
Yeah.
Okay.
The irony of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I said I'd rather be biblically correct than politically correct. And from there, it was like, I was on every news station every day for the 4 months. It was nonstop. It was to the point of like harassment. Like my 90-year-old grandmother was being harassed. It was insane. But I stood firm and I did not waver.
And your position, just to restate all these years later, was, I believe marriage is between a man and a woman.
That was my answer.
That's
and
it.
I said, no offense to anyone out there. This is the way I was raised. This is what I believe. Marriage is between one man and one woman. And I got second place and I got dragged through the mud. It was horrible. And the president loved me. And he said, Carrie, what do you want to do? He's like, do you want to be on Dancing with the Stars? Do you want to be on Fox News? I did like a little tryout on the morning show at Fox with Roger Ailes in New York. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to wake up at 3 a.m.
No, you don't.
And I said, you know what, Mr. President? I said, all I want to do is get married, be a mom. I had met Kyle and I just said, I just want to go on with my life. But I do want to write a book because nobody can take my story from me. And so he signed off on it. Thank God he did, because it was amazing that I was able to share my story. And I just kept in touch with him all these years. And so, I would defend him when they were calling him a sexist, saying he was going backstage and looking at the girls and Miss USA and the, changing rooms. And I would just constantly be like, nope, that's not the guy. Like, you're painting him as this sexist, misogynist, racist, and he was being called every name in the book, you remember. And I just defended him always because I stand on truth. And then fast forward to this Religious Liberty Commission, and I got a call from the White House 2 days after I was confirmed as a Catholic. And they said, we're calling on behalf of the president, and we want to invite you to be on this Religious Liberty Commission.
When was that?
It was April 20th, I want to say, 2025. And I wept. I was like, wow. This is incredible. Almost 20 years later, after I took that stand, here I am now defending religious liberty. Because I ultimately lost the Miss USA or Miss California title because of my answer.
Yeah.
I will say that. They took it away from me.
I remember.
Yeah. And the president had my back, which was amazing. He said she just said nothing wrong. She stood on her principles. And I loved that about him.
Amen. I agree.
Because that was when it was unpopular to do that.
Yes.
You know, he risked a lot. I was standing there at Trump Tower with him, and it was amazing. I'll never forget that. And so we just stayed friends. I would call him while he's on the golf course and be like, hey, they're asking me to go on the gay pride parade. I don't want to do that. And he's like, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. And so
the pageant people are trying to get you to march in the gay pride parade?
Yeah. They're like, well, you can make it up to the gays by just going to the gay pride parade and showing that you're not a homophobe. So I'm used to these tricks. I've been doing this 20 years. So yeah. So that's how I got on the commission.
It's exactly what's happening now. Mm-hmm. It's exactly. Topic has changed sort of, but not the tactics. So what did they tell you the Religious Liberty Commission was?
They told me that the Religious Liberty Commission was 12 of us, 12 commissioners, and our job was to hear from everyday average Americans who were facing religious persecution, like myself right now, ironically. Yes. So we would have hearings in D.C. once a month, and Dan Patrick is the chairman of the commission. We're equals on this commission.
Who's Dan Patrick?
He's the lieutenant governor of Texas. He's not above me. I'm not above him. We're equals. And it's under the Department of Justice, so Pam Bondi is involved.
Actually?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So we were told that we were going to be hearing from people at these hearings. It's from like 8 to 2 in the afternoon, so a very long day. And the witnesses, we could recommend witnesses and then have them come and testify. And I recommended so many great witnesses throughout these past 7 months. I recommended a little boy who was forced to, read a book about how you can be a transgender. And he came and met the president, and everybody got to see that. That was special. The president really appreciated him and his parents' stance and standing up for religious freedom. So stuff like that. We heard from a Navy SEAL who lost his pension because he didn't want to get the COVID shot. Things like that, where we were doing really great work. And I thought it was actually protecting religious freedom, but I realize now that's not what it was.
No, it was softening up Christians for the Iran war, obviously, and other things. Who were the other members of it? The other 11?
Yeah, so when I got the call, I actually wept because I didn't feel qualified. I thought, here I am amongst these incredible names. Bishop Barron, Cardinal Dolan, Kelly Shackelford. He's run a religious liberty law firm for 35 years. He's a big CEO. You had Ryan Anderson. You had crazy Paula White. Just these incredible names. You have a woman, Allison Ho, who I believe her husband might be the next Supreme Court justice. Mm-hmm. She's argued at the Supreme Court over, I think, 8 times. I mean, here I am, this mom who I just didn't feel qualified.
I didn't make the connection between your own experience of religious discrimination and this appointment, but clearly that was the point.
First, let's look at the history. Tucker points out that Prejean never backed down, even under immense pressure from people like Matt Lauer. This it factor is what Donald Trump loved about her. She wasn't just a beauty queen, she was a fighter. That's why she was appointed to this 12-person commission alongside heavy hitters like Bishop Barron and Ben Carson. But Prejean tells Tucker that she quickly realized this commission wasn't just about protecting your right to pray, it was about something much more political.
Right? Then I realized that, no, I am qualified. In fact, I'm probably one of the most qualified because I don't know how many people on that stage have ever been attacked, have ever been slandered, have ever been canceled, have ever lost anything. I mean, look at Dr. Phil. He's on the commission. He has a huge organization. They have big backing, big money behind them. And here I am, this little mom that I'm not owned by anybody. They can't take anything from me. And that's why I'm free. And that's why I said what I said that day.
Amen. So what were the meetings like?
Prior to the anti-Semitism hearing, they were incredible. I was crying as I would listen to these people who are facing religious persecution. And the end of this, the main part of this commission is the end of the 1-year appointment was we were going to sit down with the president and say, okay, here's our report. Here's what we recommend that you maybe executive orders that you can put in, maybe legislative things that you can push to protect religious freedom. And so I took this position very serious, very serious. It makes me sad. You know, I was a champion for mothers who didn't want to vaccinate their kids to go to school. I listened to people that are suffering in Gaza that simply just were protesting at their college campus. They're using their First Amendment rights. It's crazy where we're at.
Did you have any sense from talking to the other members between April when you got it and was it January, I think, when this contretemps happened? Did you have any sense that the other members of the commission were trying to steer you in a certain direction, disagreed with you, had an agenda that was not stated?
I realized in August. So I got appointed in April or May 1st, National Day of Prayer. Went to the White House. The president signed the executive order. We're all standing there. And then we took the summer break. So we had a couple months off. And then our first hearing was going to be, I believe it was end of August or early September. Well, end of August, I got a call from the White House, the PPO, or I guess it was the designated federal officer who's in charge of the commission. So the head of Dan, he's the chairman and then his boss. And she's like, hey, Carrie, I noticed that you've been posting some things online and there's been some chatter in the White House that you're an anti-Semite.
You're an anti-Semite?
And I literally was like, what are you talking about?
Who was this person?
Her name's Mary Margaret Bush. And she said, I don't know who it is, but it's probably some low person that is just trying to cause problems. I would ignore it, but I just wanted to make sure that you're mindful of what you're posting. And that was the first time where I was like, okay, like this is not a paid position. I'm a volunteer. They pay for my flight. They pay for my hotel, but that's it. I'm not paid to do this job. I'm volunteering this job. And so I said, wait a sec. I pushed back and I said, you're telling me that as a religious liberty commissioner to protect religious liberty, I don't have my religious liberty to post about things that affect my religion and my religious beliefs? So I pushed back and I said, what are the things that I've been posting? Well, you posted Tucker Carlson's, or you posted the Green Beret that you interviewed, Anthony Aguilar. I said, yeah, I did. I did post that. That's sad. That's heartbreaking to me.
Shooting people in food lines? Yeah, which they have.
Yeah, I said, I'm a pro-life Christian. I have a duty to speak out. And it would be a betrayal of my conscience not to.
So this woman from the White House said that posting an interview that I did made you an anti-Semite?
She said that there were people complaining about certain things that I was posting. And then this was the worst. She said, you posted Pope Leo, what he said, and you wrote in the caption, that there's suffering in Gaza and there's a genocide. You really you shouldn't use that language.
The turning point happened in August. Prejean, a devout Catholic, began posting about the suffering in Gaza, citing her pro-life convictions and quoting Pope Leo. According to the transcript, she received a call from a White House staffer, Mary Margaret Bush, telling her she was being called an anti-Semite and that she cannot talk about Zionism.
That's when I knew this is a war. We are in an absolute war. I said, I'm a Catholic. You're telling me that I have to censor my posts of Pope Leo, the Holy Father? I can't post what he's saying, talking about the grave suffering of the Palestinians in Gaza. And she said, you also cannot talk about Zionism. So Zionism, this is her words, is their right to exist. And so when you're posting about Zionism, Carrie, you're saying that the Jews don't have a right to exist.
Huh? Mary Margaret Bush is her name?
Mary Margaret Bush is her name. She's a young woman. And I said, well, this wouldn't jeopardize my position on the commission, would it? Like, the president doesn't know about this, right? Because imagine me. I'm like, I just got appointed. I'm super excited. I'm passionate. This is like my dream job to protect religious freedom. And now I'm being told I don't have my own. And she goes, oh, no. The president, no, don't worry about this, Carrie. This wouldn't jeopardize. So I just kept posting. Well, then I got a call from the PPO office at the White House.
May I just ask you to pause for 1 second? Did Mary Margaret Bush tell you who had called you an anti-Semite? That's a serious slander.
Oh, yeah.
Did she name the people saying that?
She said, I have no idea who it is.
Oh, it's just people are saying.
I think the people was Paula White. Let's just be honest. It was Paula White, I think. My personal opinion.
Okay, so now I'm sorry to keep interrupting this amazing narrative, but for people who don't follow this, who is Paula White?
Paula White is Trump's pastor.
This is where it gets personal. Prejean names names. She points to Paula White, Trump's personal pastor, and Dan Patrick. She claims they tried to force her to resign behind the president's back. Prejean calls Paula White a heretic and a Zionist evangelical, accusing her of running a shadow purge. What's even more shocking? When Prejean called other members of the commission, like Bishop Barron and Ben Carson, they had no idea anyone was trying to remove her. This suggests a deep state within the faith office, acting as gatekeepers for what Christians are allowed to say.
Okay.
That's who he picked as his pastor.
And she's a pastor? That's her official position? She's a pastor?
I don't believe women can be pastors, but who am I? I'm just a dumb mom in California.
So is she a Christian pastor, Paula
She's a
White?
Christian Zionist evangelical heretic, in my opinion.
Okay.
But yeah, she's Trump's, she runs the White House, the faith office, White House position. And she's on the Religious Liberty Commission with me and very involved in all things Bibi Netanyahu. And so I got a call from...
How would you rate her authority as a Christian leader?
Oh, I don't take her serious at all. I don't think she's a Christian leader. I think she's a crazy person, honestly. Yeah. I think she's a heretic.
I think for people who think you're throwing those terms around lightly or slandering her, I think it'd be worth going online and reading about her and watching videos of her demanding money from her congregation on film with some other Christian pastor in a foreign country. Clearly, she's got a complicated personal life and saying things that bear no resemblance at all to Christian doctrine. That I think it's fair what you're saying, I guess is my point.
Yeah. So I got a call from the White House, Mary Sproles, another Mary, and I looked her up.
From Presidential Personnel Office. Yes,
PPO office. Yeah. I got a call in August, shortly after that phone call with the other Mary. And I'll never forget it. I answered the phone and she's like, "Hi, Carrie. This is Mary Sproles calling from the White House PPO office. I'm calling to ask you for your resignation today."
When was this?
This was in August. Yeah. This was in August. A few weeks after. Yes, very scary. And I remember I had like a tear just come down, but I wasn't sad. It was like anger.
Had you gone to any meetings of the commission at this point?
Our first, we had a first hearing, briefly, like a brief hearing on kind of the history of religious freedom in America. But our first hearing, the most important hearing coming up, the little boy that had to read the book, was a few weeks later.
Okay, so this is before you even served out your duties.
Oh yeah, no, it was before the first official hearing.
And she asked for your resignation.
She said, "I want your written resignation today." And I said, "Who are you?" I thought this was a joke. Who is this person? And she goes, "I am calling on behalf of the White House." I said, "Why would you ask me for my resignation? I just got on this commission. What did I do wrong?"
Boy, you are tough.
I was not going to go down without a fight because I knew.
Clearly.
I knew.
I'm just looking at your husband who's nodding. She's tough. So, excuse me.
No,
good for you.
Yeah, I said, "I'm not resigning." And I don't know who asked you to have me resign. Was it the president? Because I think the president should ask me to resign if he wants me to resign. He appointed me, and only he can ask for my resignation. So I'm not resigning.
Carrie Prejean refused to blink. She told the White House, "I'm not resigning. Only the president can fire me." Whether you agree with her stance on Gaza or not, this interview raises a terrifying question. If a high-profile appointee can't quote the Pope without being threatened with a witch hunt, what hope does the average American have? Is the movement being hijacked by political litmus tests? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is Carrie a hero, or has she gone too far? Don't forget to like and subscribe.